Picture this. You're in a room with someone who thrives on chaos, feeds on your anger, and grows stronger with every emotional reaction you give them. What if I told you there's an invisible armor that makes you completely untouchable to these emotional predators? This is the grey rock method, and it's about to change everything you thought you knew about power. Here's the brutal truth. Toxic people are emotional vampires. They don't feed on your blood. They feed on your reactions. Your anger is their validation. Your frustration is their fuel. Your tears are their triumph. Every time you explode, every time you defend yourself, every time you show that they've gotten under your skin, you're giving them exactly what they crave. But what happens when you remove the very thing they're hunting for? When you become as emotionally responsive as a grey rock sitting in a field? The predator starves because you've just cut off their supply. This isn't about becoming emotionless forever. It's about becoming strategically boring to those who would manipulate you. Grey rock creates an impenetrable psychological barrier. It's not a wall they can break down. It's quicksand they can't grab onto. When there's no emotional reaction to exploit, no button to push, no wound to probe, the toxic person loses all their power. You become untouchable, not through aggression, but through strategic indifference. This is your invisible armor. And once you understand how to forge it, you'll never be manipulated the same way again. If you're finding value in this, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Building on what we covered, let's dive into the psychology that makes this weapon so devastatingly effective. Every manipulator operates on what psychologists call narcissistic supply. This is their psychological fuel. Your reactions, your emotions, your attention. Think of it as an addiction. They need your emotional responses to feel alive. Anger feeds them. Fear nourishes them. Even love becomes their drug. But here's where the science gets brutal. When you remove emotional rewards, their brain enters what's called extinction mode. The neural pathways that once fired with anticipation begin to weaken. It's like watching a predator slowly starve in a forest without prey. Your strategic boredom becomes their psychological famine. Neuroscience shows us that consistent disengagement rewires their expectations. They begin to see you as an unreliable source of supply. And like any intelligent predator, they eventually move on to easier targets. This isn't theory. This is weaponized behavioral science. Now comes the real work. Becoming a grey rock isn't just theory. It's a precise art of emotional death. Your voice becomes your first weapon, monotone, flat, devoid of the emotional peaks and valleys they crave. Every word delivered with the enthusiasm of reading a phone book. No inflection, no passion, just nothing. When they ask how your day was, you don't say terrible or amazing. You say fine. Next comes the information diet. You become a vault that reveals absolutely nothing worth exploiting. No dreams shared, no fears exposed, no victories celebrated. Your inner world becomes classified information. They probe for details about your weekend plans. You respond with the emotional intensity of discussing weather patterns. Your body language becomes the final piece of this psychological fortress. Present in flesh, absent in spirit. Shoulders relaxed, face neutral. Eyes that look through them, not at them, as if they're made of glass. No leaning in when they speak, no pulling away when they approach. You become human furniture. They tell you shocking news. Your eyebrows don't rise. They share gossip. Your lips don't curl. You become a black hole of emotional energy. Every dramatic attempt gets swallowed by your indifference. This isn't cruelty. This isn't punishment. This is surgical precision applied to psychological warfare. But here's what they don't tell you about becoming a grey rock. Sometimes the predator fights back harder. You've become the grey rock. You've stripped away their emotional supply. But here's what they don't warn you about. The toxic person in your life is about to unleash hell. This is called the extinction burst. When a manipulator realizes their old tactics aren't working, they don't give up. They escalate. Think of a child throwing a tantrum when ignored. Except this child has adult weapons. They'll love bomb harder, guilt trip deeper, create bigger scenes. The manipulation becomes desperate. This is psychological warfare at its most vicious. They're fighting for their supply source. The critical window is 21 days. This is when most people break and return to old patterns. They know this instinctively. The pressure will be relentless during this period. Fake emergencies will appear. Old wounds will be weaponized. Flying monkeys will be deployed. Your resolve will be tested like never before. This is where warriors are separated from the weak. Remember, that escalation is proof your strategy is working. Desperation reveals their weakness. Stay the course. Every tantrum they throw is another chain breaking. Survive the extinction burst, and you'll discover something extraordinary about selective emotional control. You've learned the basics. Now comes the true mastery. Advanced grey rock isn't about becoming emotionally dead to everyone. It's about choosing who deserves your emotional energy. You become a master of compartmentalization, dead to them, fully alive to those who matter. Your toxic person sees a shell. Your loved ones see the real you. This is selective emotional death. Strategic confusion becomes your weapon. I don't remember saying that. That doesn't sound like me. Memory lapses aren't accidents anymore. They're calculated strikes that leave manipulators grasping at air. You master the art of being consistently underwhelming. Every interaction slightly disappoints them. They expect drama. You give them beige. They want chaos. You offer vanilla. This isn't about being boring. It's about being strategically unremarkable to specific people. You become a master of emotional misdirection. Present, but absent. Engaged, but unreachable. They'll search for buttons to push. You've removed the buttons entirely from their view. Your emotional availability becomes a privilege. They've lost that privilege permanently. This is advanced grey rock. Surgical precision in emotional warfare. You've learned to die selectively. Soon you'll discover what it means to be truly free. You've mastered the grey rock method. Now comes the transformation that changes everything. What was once your weakness becomes your greatest weapon. Emotional detachment is now your superpower. The manipulators who once controlled you now find themselves grasping at smoke. You've become untouchable. This is the Stoic principle of selective engagement. You choose your battles by refusing to fight. Every emotional reaction they can't extract from you is power they lose forever. The victim you once were has died. In their place stands an invisible warrior. You walk through toxic environments like a ghost, present in body, absent in vulnerability. Your silence becomes more powerful than any argument you could ever make. While others drain themselves in emotional warfare, you conserve energy for what truly matters. The narcissists, bullies, and energy vampires find no purchase on your emotional armor. This is freedom, not the absence of conflict, but the presence of choice. You decide when to engage. You decide when to retreat. You control the game. The grey rock method has transformed you from prey into predator, from controlled into controller. Welcome to your new reality. Unbreakable, untouchable, uncontrollable. If this opened your eyes, smash that like button and subscribe for more.